Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to deliver a lecture on structured equation modeling. It is an important technique in order to analyze the data in quantitative research. Without making much delay, let us move to the presentation. So what is a structured equation modeling? A structured equation modeling examines the structure of interrelationship between several endogenous and exogenous variables. Endogenous variables are dependent variables, whereas exogenous variables are independent variables. So what it basically says is that when we have more number of one or more number of dependent variables and multiple independent variables, and we try to structure the relationship, then structure equation modeling is the best or appropriate statistical test to use. Uh, Structure equation modeling can also help to illustrate the relationship among constructs presented in a theoretical framework. That is, if a researcher undertakes a literature review and if he uh, has to incorporate different theories, or if he develops a research model based on that theory and try to see the interrelationship between the constructs, then a structural equation modeling is the best alternative. So, a structural equation modeling can help to estimate the direct and indirect effects through mediation and moderation analysis. Two types of structural equation modeling can be found. One is known as covariance-based structural equation modeling, and the other is partial least square structural equation modeling. In covariance-based structural equation modeling, there is a requirement of normal distribution of data, as well as the larger the sample size, the better. Also, in order to select covariance-based structural equation modeling for analysis, the researcher has to have a correct specification of the model that has to be tested, and it is usually used in different software applications like MOS, Listrel, and M+. So the ultimate goal of covariance-based structural equation modeling is to primarily confirm or reject a theory. However, there are some difference with respect to the other type of structural equation modeling, which is partial least square structural equation modeling. The primary aim of partial least square structural equation modeling is to enhance the predictive ability. That is, it aims to maximize the exploratory function of the model. Also, in order to use partial least square structural equation modeling, there is no requirement of normality of the data, and it can be carried out through smaller sample size. Also, this type of structural equation modeling can be used when the researchers have very little available theory or cannot ensure a correct model or exact model specification. And this type of structural equation modeling is usually carried out in a software application known as Smart PLS. So when a researcher uses structural equation modeling or undertakes a structural equation modeling for his research study, there are two assessments that has to be done. One is assessment of the measurement models or the outer model. This assessment is done in order to establish the validity and reliability of the different indicator items as well as constructs that have been included in the study. So in order to assess the measurement model or the outer model, first step is to establish convergent and discriminant validity. Convergent validity can be established through three measures. One is composite reliability, average variance extracted, and item loading. For composite reliability, the computed value has to be greater than 0.7 as per rule of thumb. And secondly, the average variance extracted has to be more than 0.5 or greater. In addition to that, the item loading, that is the items that are used in order to define different constructs of the theory, has to be has to have a value more than 0.7. Item loading of construct less than 0.7 has to be dropped from the analysis in order to establish a conversion validity. Usually these three measures are computed in the output of a smart PLS. So there is no need to compute manually. Also, There is a requirement to establish discriminant validity when one undertakes structure equation modeling. So this can be done through different measures such as cross-loading. Cross-loading has to be again greater than 0.7. Cross-loading values of each item indicators must successfully load higher than the value of the corresponding construct that it's measured. That is, if I have two uh, latent variables, or if I have two variables in the model which is measured by suppose different items. So I have brand equity and purchase intention. Cross-loading measure state that the items that I have used to measure brand equity must not load with higher value in purchase intention in order to establish a discriminant validity. Second criteria is to uh, examine the Fornell-Lecker criterion. This is also an important criteria in order to establish discriminant validity. According to this measure, the square root of average variance extracted of each construct has to be higher than the inter-construct correlation. That is the average, that is the square root of average variance extracted of two variables. Suppose if in my earlier example I have used brand equity and purchase intentions. The square root of average variance extracted of brand equity has to be higher than the inter-construct correlation, that is the correlation between brand equity and purchase intention, in order to establish a discriminant validity. The third measure is called the heterotrade monotrade ratio. These are computed directly from the output of the smart PLS. So HTMT values of its construct must not exceed 0.85 in order to establish a discriminant validity. The second step to examine while undertaking a structure equation modeling is to assess the quality and predictive relevance of the structured model, also known as inner model. So in this case, first we analyze the path analysis, that is the hypothesis testing. Path analysis can be in the form of this diagram. This is the path analysis where we see the dependent and independent variable, their path coefficient, also known as standardized beta weights. So the first measure in order to validate the quality of the structured model is the R-square, which is also known as the percentage of variance explained of the endogenous variable. It is the same R-square which we have studied in linear multiple regression. So as per specification, R-square value of 0.6 or higher is considered to be high. R-square value of 0.33 to 0.67 is considered to be giving moderate explanation of the variance, whereas R-square value of 0.19 to 0.33 is considered to be weak, and R-square value of 0.19 is treated to be unacceptable. The second measure to evaluate the quality of the structure model is the effect size. That is, it is the effect size of the relationship of the dependent and the independent variable. So as per rule, F square value of 0.35 is large, higher is large, whereas F square value of 0.15 and less than 0.35 is considered to be medium, whereas F square value of 0.02 to 0.15 is considered to be small, whereas F square value of less than 0.02 indicates that there is no effect size. The third measure is to examine the predictive relevance, that is also known as Q square. Predictive relevance or Q square measures the accuracy of the PLS path model. It also establishes the predictive validity of the structured model. As per rule of law, Q square value has to be greater than 0 to show predictive accuracy for the endogenous variables. Q square value higher than 0.50 indicate high predictive relevance, whereas Q square value of 0.25 or greater indicate medium predictive relevance. So Q square in structural equation modeling is used in order to evaluate the predictive validity of the structured model. Another important measure for evaluating a structured equation modeling is known as the goodness of fit index. The goodness of fit index ensures that the model adequately describes the empirical data. Usually, standardized root mean square is used in order to establish the goodness of fit. So, standardized root mean square has to be equal or less than 0.08 in order for the model to be considered as a good fit. Besides examining the direct and indirect impact of several dependent and independent variables, structural equation modeling is also useful in determining the mediation analysis. That is, mediation analysis refers to the influence of the relationship between two variables by a third variable. So consider if two variables are related, and if we'd like to see the intervening impact of a third variable, or if two variables are connected or disconnected or not statistically significant or not statistically significant, and we are trying to see the variation of the relationship of the two variable by an third variable is known as a mediation analysis. So in terms of there is a direct indirect impact. So the magnitude of mediation can be measured through structural equation modeling. Considering the previous examples of purchase intention and brand equity. So if there is a relationship between these two variables, and if there is a third variable which is impacting the relationship between these two variables, and there is a uh, variation in the relationship, then it is known as a mediation variable. So the magnitude of mediation can be partial or full. Partial modification happens when there is a direct significant relationship between the two variables but is impacted by the third variable. Whereas full mediation takes place if there is no direct significant relation between two constructs, but they they have a relationship when they are interfered by a third variable. So this is mediation analysis. Also, structure equation modeling can help to perform moderation analysis. Moderation analysis or moderator is a term that refers to a scenario in which the connection between two constructs is not constant but varies according to the values of the third variable referred to as moderator variable. A moderator variable modifies the strength or even direction of the connection between two model components. It can increase or decrease the strength of the relationship. Moderation can be positive or negative. For instance, we have we have a we have a direct relationship between effort expectancy and intention to visit. However, the relationship between these two variables can be moderated by a third variable which is known as experience. That is, if a person has experience of using computers or social media like Facebook and Instagram or other technological devices, then the strength of the relationship between tourist intention to visit and effort expectancy increases. That is, individuals feel that social media application or other form of technology is more easy, which in turn increase their intention to visit a particular destination. So this is a positive moderation of experience in the relationship between effort expectancy and tourist intention to visit a particular destination. So the suggestions for undertaking correct partial least square structure equation modeling is follows. We have to avoid using categorical scale for endogenous construct. That is, the dependent variable has to be in interval or ratio scale. Also, in terms of bootstrapping, the maximum number of iterations should be 300, and the samples in bootstrap should be uh, stated as 5,000. Also, it is recommended that in structure equation modeling, in partial least square structure equation modeling, one should not use the goodness of fit index to measure the inner model. In terms of measuring the outer model, indicator loadings can be considered instead of Cronspec alpha, or composite reliability can also be considered, which I have already explained in the slides. Thank you.